What you're about to hear is one of the most disturbing cases of domestic violence ever caught on camera, broadcasted live on Facebook for the world to see. In this video, 27-year-old Rannita Williams, a mother of three, is being forced to apologize on Facebook Live.
It's already done. Now, apologize.
Hey y'all, this Nunu. I apologize for going live on Rika. I ain't had no business doing all that. My page been blocked, so that's why I'm going live. Yes, I know I was wrong. I ain't have no business going off like that, but
See right there. See right there. Everybody want to be famous. I'm gonna make you famous.
yes.
What?
I am sorry, y'all. This Nunu, I'm blocked off my page. So I had to go out live on Monster Phone. I ain't had no intentions of going live like that. I apologize to everybody. Yes.
What?
No, Yes, that's her. Let me see the phone, son.
No.
Yes. Yes, Aunt Lola. Yes. Yeah, Rika. Yeah, she on the phone. Yeah.
You think I'm worried about the police right now? Huh? You think I'm worried about the police right now?
No.
I tell you, I don't give a about no police, you heard?
Mm-hmm.
Pull up right now. Pull up.
Okay.
Pull up. Pull up.
Uh-huh. No, it was just I apologize
What's up?
because I couldn't go live on my phone. My page is blocked.
This want to be famous. I'm gonna make you fucking famous.
No.
You wanna be famous? I'm gonna make you famous.
No.
No. Everybody wanna be famous, let's be famous today.
Okay.
Huh? I do.
Yes.
I'm telling you I get on these bitch level.
No.
Bitch, go.
Stop, Jonathan. Stop, Jonathan.
Now, bitch, game over. Game over.
A gun barrel glints in the background of a Facebook Live video. A 27-year-old mother trembles as she speaks. I apologize to everybody. I'm sorry. I didn't have any business going on Facebook Live. The terror in her eyes tells a story her words cannot. Within minutes of this forced apology, Shreveport police will receive a desperate 911 call.
The police at 1301 Natalie. 1301 Natalie. Because they shoot Jonathan Watterson.
Okay, Jonathan.
1301 Natalie Street.
Okay, is he shooting now?
Yeah, he's shooting now, ma'am.
Okay.
All
Can you
right.
tell me what he's wearing? Hold on. Can you tell me what he's wearing?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what?
Ma'am, I can't tell what he got on.
Okay, yeah. Can you see him right now? Officers need to know when they pull up who he is.
He's in a car.
Okay, what kind of
He's
vehicle?
in a little brown car. The car's still in the driveway.
Okay, who is he shooting at?
He's shooting at my daughter.
Okay. Okay, is everybody safe inside of the residence?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
My daughter in there.
where's your daughter at?
She in there now.
Okay. Okay, and you don't know what color shirt he's wearing or nothing like that?
He got on burgundy shirt, but the car's still in the yard, ma'am.
Okay, that's fine, but like I said, if you can stay on the phone with me.
Okay, it's 1301 Nellie. He's in the house with the gun.
They're already on the way. Is your daughter in the house too?
Yeah, she's in there with my son.
Okay, and your son, how old is your son?
He's 30.
30, okay. And he did fire a shot?
Yes, ma'am, he did fire a shot.
Okay, like I said, they're on the way. If you could just take, just stay where you are safely. Let me know what's going on so I can relay the information to the officers.
Okay.
Leading them to 1131, Natalie Street, where they discovered the body of Rannita Williams, a mother whose life was brutally ended in her family home on April 12, 2018. The chilling live stream would later become critical evidence in one of Louisiana's most disturbing domestic violence homicides. Today, we'll examine the life of Rannita Williams, the relationship that led to her death, and the warning signs that preceded this tragedy. This isn't just a story about murder. It's about recognizing dangerous patterns before they escalate to violence. If this is your first time on our channel, hit that subscribe button and notification bell to join our true crime community. Leave a comment below about the warning signs you've learned to recognize in toxic relationships. Born in Shreveport, Louisiana, Rannita Williams, affectionately called Nita by those who loved her, grew up in an area known for elevated crime rates and economic challenges. Despite these circumstances, she built a life centered around her 3 children from a previous relationship. Friends and family consistently describe her as a devoted mother who prioritized her children's needs above all else. But Rannita was more than just a mother. She had carved out a successful career as an interior designer, transforming ordinary spaces into stunning homes. Her natural eye for design earned her recognition throughout the community, and she often showcased her projects on Facebook, where she built a following of admirers who appreciated her talent and creativity. Her social media presence reflected her dual identity, proud mother and aspiring entrepreneur. Posts alternated between heartwarming family moments and impressive before and after photos of her design work. By all accounts, Rannita had created a stable, loving environment for her children while pursuing her professional passion. In late 2016, a new figure entered Rannita's carefully constructed world: 37-year-old Jonathan Robinson.
Women are the winners.
I ain't gonna say all men and women. I'm gonna say me and my niggas winning though. The niggas I
Okay,
fuck
well,
with,
10 dudes winning. Okay.
like a motherfucker.
Oh, let them tell it.
Yeah, we winning.
Yeah, let
We
y'all
don't,
tell
we
it.
don't know how to lose. We don't even take losses good at nothing. I mean that, nothing.
But anyway, y'all know what it for, women. We already know what it for.
What?
Okay. Nothing. What?
Exactly.
To be
nothing.
unsaid.
Nothing.
To be untold.
Exactly, nothing.
To be untold.
Fuck with a nigga out of 10-2. You done. Game fucking over.
Oh, Lord.
Like Rannita, Jonathan was from Shreveport, but their similarities ended there. Where Rannita had built a positive reputation through hard work and dedication, Jonathan carried a shadow of violence that stretched back nearly 2 decades. The initial stages of their relationship showed none of the darkness that would later emerge. Jonathan appeared attentive, protective, and engaged with Rannita's children. He attended school functions, played with her kids, and positioned himself as the stable male figure the family had previously lacked. For Rannita, who had navigated single parenthood for years, Jonathan's presence seemed to complete the family picture she'd been working toward. What Rannita couldn't see, or perhaps chose not to see, was Jonathan's extensive criminal history. Court records would later reveal a disturbing pattern spanning nearly 20 years. Multiple arrests for domestic violence, aggravated assault, and even attempted murder. Jonathan had cycled through the prison system repeatedly, with each release followed by new violent offenses. The first major fracture in their relationship emerged when Rannita discovered she wasn't Jonathan's only partner. For an undetermined period, Jonathan had maintained a relationship with another woman named Sharika Taylor. The discovery transformed what had appeared to be a promising relationship into a complex and increasingly volatile triangle. Whether from fear, hope, or a combination of both, Rannita initially tolerated this arrangement. The 2 women became aware of each other's existence, creating an unstable dynamic that would eventually erupt into public confrontations. Jonathan continued to move between both relationships, making promises to each woman while committing fully to neither. By late 2017, the situation had deteriorated significantly. Hostility between the 2 women intensified, spilling onto social media, where their private conflict became public spectacle. Facebook became the battleground where accusations were hurled and relationships dissected for all to see. In December 2017, Rannita reached her breaking point. She posted publicly that she was done with Jonathan and ready to move forward independently. This declaration of independence marked what should have been the end of a toxic chapter in her life. Rannita refocused on her children and career, even beginning to date someone new. But Jonathan Robinson couldn't accept her decision. He persisted in contacting her, pleading for another chance. Temporarily, Rannita relented, but soon reinforced her boundary, emphasizing that the relationship was truly over. It was this final rejection that would set Jonathan on a path toward violence. The early months of 2018 saw an escalation in online conflicts. Sharika posted, "Stop trying to ruin someone else's happiness by dealing with a taken man, because you might just end up being miserable." Rannita responded with an ominous warning. "Don't play with me, promise you, you ain't gone like the way I play back." If you're finding value in this analysis of relationship red flags, please take a second to hit the like button. Your engagement helps us reach more people with these important stories. In April 2018, Rannita went live on Facebook to address the ongoing accusations from Sharika that she was attempting to reconcile with Jonathan. In her live stream, Rannita clarified that it was actually Jonathan who continued pursuing her despite her attempts to move on. This public clarification would prove to be the trigger for the tragedy that followed. On the morning of April 12, 2018, Jonathan Robinson drove from Houston, Texas, to Shreveport, Louisiana, with clear intent. The distance, approximately 190 miles, highlights the premeditated nature of what would follow. He didn't arrive empty-handed. He brought with him a firearm and 40 rounds of ammunition purchased earlier that day. Jonathan arrived at the home of Anita Williams, Rannita's mother, with rage simmering beneath the surface. From the moment he entered the residence, the atmosphere shifted to one of intimidation and control. He demanded an apology from Rannita for her social media statements that he claimed had humiliated both him and Sharika. When Rannita refused, Jonathan briefly left the house only to return with a gun. In an instant, what had been a heated argument transformed into a hostage situation. Jonathan held Rannita, her mother, and her brother at gunpoint, creating a pressure cooker environment where his rage could only end in violence. Anita Williams, sensing the gravity of the situation, watched for an opportunity to escape. When she found her moment, she fled to a neighbor's house and immediately contacted law enforcement. Her quick thinking would bring police to the scene, though tragically not in time to save her daughter. With Anita gone and her brother having also escaped, Rannita found herself alone with Jonathan. Using her brother's Facebook account because her own had been temporarily restricted, she was forced to go live under Jonathan's direction. The video that resulted provides a haunting window into the final moments of Rannita's life. In the live stream, visible to friends and followers, Rannita sits facing the camera. Her expression reflects fear as she delivers an apology that was clearly coerced. "I apologize to everybody. I'm sorry. I didn't have any business going on Facebook Live." Behind her, partially visible, stands Jonathan Robinson, gun in hand, dictating what she should say. This chilling broadcast continued for several minutes as Jonathan forced Rannita to recant her previous statements about him. Those watching could only observe helplessly as the situation unfolded in real time. Then, without warning, Jonathan pulled the trigger. The live stream captured the moment of violence, though mercifully not in explicit detail. What viewers did see was enough to prompt numerous emergency calls to Shreveport Police Department, adding to the alert already initiated by Anita Williams. When officers arrived at 1131 Natalie Street, they encountered not only a homicide scene, but an active threat. Jonathan, still present at home, began firing at responding officers. What followed was an 80-minute standoff that put additional lives at risk as Jonathan repeatedly discharged his weapon toward law enforcement personnel. The police, recognizing the volatile nature of the situation, deployed SWAT teams and negotiators in an attempt to resolve the standoff without further bloodshed. Their strategy included an unusual approach. They brought Sharika Taylor to the scene, hoping she could calm Jonathan and convince him to surrender. The gambit worked. Whether motivated by his relationship with Sharika or the realization that he had no escape, Jonathan eventually laid down his weapon and surrendered to authorities. As officers placed him in handcuffs, the full scope of the morning's horror became clear. Rannita Williams was dead, executed in her family home and on social media for perceived crime or trying to move on with her life. In the aftermath, investigators pieced together not just the events of April 12th, but the history that led to them. Jonathan's interrogation yielded particularly disturbing insights into his mindset. Without apparent emotion, he admitted to planning Rannita's murder that very morning. He described obtaining the gun from a relative's home and purchasing ammunition with the explicit purpose of killing Rannita. We're halfway through Rannita's story. If you're finding this case analysis informative, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Your support helps us continue exploring these important cases. Perhaps most chilling was Jonathan's admission that he had intended to die that day. His plan included provoking a deadly confrontation with police, a scenario that would have potentially claimed additional lives. The premeditated nature of his actions, combined with his extensive criminal history, painted a picture of a man who had long used violence as his primary means of control. The charges against Jonathan Robinson reflected the severity of his actions: first-degree murder for Rannita's death and multiple counts of attempted first-degree murder for firing at police officers. In Louisiana, first-degree murder can carry the death penalty, particularly in cases with aggravating factors such as premeditation and additional violent offenses. The legal proceedings moved forward with substantial evidence, including the Facebook Live video, witness testimony, and Jonathan's own confession. On July 24, 2019, facing overwhelming evidence and the possibility of execution, Jonathan Robinson pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and several counts of attempted first-degree murder. The plea agreement spared Jonathan from the death penalty, but ensured he would never walk free again. He received a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, guaranteeing he would spend the remainder of his days in the Louisiana State Penitentiary. During the sentencing hearing, Jonathan expressed remorse, at one point directly addressing Rannita Williams to apologize for taking her daughter's life. Whether this contrition was genuine or calculated to influence the court remains a question only Jonathan can answer. Regardless, his expressions of regret could not undo the irreparable harm he had caused. The community of Shreveport responded to Rannita's death with an outpouring of grief and support. Vigils were held throughout the city, bringing together not only those who knew Rannita personally, but also those moved by the tragic circumstances of her death. Her story resonated particularly strongly with advocates against domestic violence, who recognized the familiar pattern of control, escalation, and ultimately lethal violence. Rannita Williams, despite her own physical injuries from the encounter with Jonathan, became the voice for her daughter and the guardian of her legacy. Through her grief, she spoke about the importance of recognizing warning signs in relationships and the need for greater resources for those trapped in cycles of domestic abuse. On April 21, 2018, just 9 days after her life was taken, Rannita Williams was laid to rest in Princeton, Bossier Parish, Louisiana. The funeral service celebrated the vibrant life she had lived rather than the violent way it ended. Friends and family shared memories of her creativity, her dedication to her children, and her unwavering spirit. As we examine Rannita Williams' story, several critical warning signs emerge. Red flags that, in retrospect, signaled the danger Jonathan Robinson posed. Understanding these indicators is essential not just for making sense of this tragedy, but for potentially preventing similar situations. The first and perhaps most obvious red flag was Jonathan's extensive criminal history. His record of domestic violence and assault represented a clear pattern of behavior that predicted future violence. Research consistently shows that past violent behavior is the strongest predictor of future violence, particularly in intimate relationships. A second warning sign appeared in Jonathan's controlling behavior. His inability to accept Rannita's decision to end their relationship revealed an underlying belief that he owned her rather than respected her autonomy. This possessiveness intensified when Rannita began moving forward with her life, including dating someone new. The third red flag manifested in the escalation of threats and public humiliation. The social media conflicts between Rannita and Sharika, while seemingly just online drama, represented a dangerous escalation in tensions. Jonathan's demand for a public apology demonstrated his focus on dominance and reputation rather than resolution. A fourth warning sign can be found in Jonathan's preparation for violence. The deliberate acquisition of a weapon and ammunition, combined with the long drive from Houston to Shreveport, demonstrates clear premeditation. These weren't the actions of someone losing control in the heat of the moment, but rather the calculated moves of someone planning to inflict harm. Finally, the hostage-taking and forced apology represented the ultimate expression of control. Jonathan literally directing Rannita's words and actions before taking her life. This public display of power served as his final assertion of dominance in a relationship he could no longer maintain through other means. If you're finding these insights valuable, please take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps us reach more people with these crucial discussions about relationship safety. The tragedy of Rannita Williams extends beyond her individual story. It touches on broader issues of domestic violence, relationship dynamics, and the often overlooked dangers of separation. Statistics show that leaving an abusive relationship is often the most dangerous period for victims, with the risk of homicide increasing significantly when an abuser senses loss of control. The involvement of social media adds a contemporary dimension to this case. Online platforms created an additional arena for conflict, public shaming, and ultimately documentation of crime itself. The live-stream nature of the events preceding Rannita's murder speaks to how technology can be weaponized in domestic violence situations. For Rannita's 3 children, the impact of their mother's murder creates ripples that will affect them throughout their lives. They not only lost their mother, but must also process the violent circumstances of her death and its public nature. The trauma inflicted extends across generations, demonstrating how domestic violence harms not just the direct victim, but entire families.
I just never shared it with nobody because I knew what I wanted in my heart and what I believed in. I didn't believe in killing nobody. I never believed in killing nobody. Not just him, nobody. Not even an enemy. So why? No, I'm glad justice has been served. Everything is gone. Everything is okay. So I feel a lot better now. Now I can rest. Now me and my family can go on with our life, you know. It's over with. It's no more. So it's nothing else to talk. The decision has been made between us and everybody else. So we feel a lot better. It hurts me. It hurts me so bad. By killing Jonathan, it's not going to bring Rannita back. None whatsoever. So decision has been made, and that's what it is.
When did the DA let you know that this would happen?
We have been talking about it by months. We have been talking about months. He had asked me my decision, and he gave me his decision. So at the end of the day, the decision that was made was my decision. So no one else could look at the DA, no one else, no other different. I made that decision. So that is what it is.
Did Robinson reach out to you anyway?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I never let no one know. It was privacy. Every time he reached out to me, I never let no one know. This wasn't the first time he apologized to me. It's about the 3rd time with letters and writing. I just never let no one know what was going on with me. From this time on, it was just private. Whatever went on, it was private between me and my family. Yes, he did reach out, and I forgive him. I forgive him, but I never will forget.
The response of law enforcement during the standoff with Jonathan highlights the dangers that domestic violence calls pose to police. Studies consistently rank domestic disturbance calls among the most hazardous for officers, often because they encounter perpetrators in heightened emotional states with access to weapons, exactly the scenario that unfolded on Natalie Street. The role of Sharika Taylor in this case presents complexities worth examining. As the other woman in the triangle, she was simultaneously a participant in the conflict leading up to the violence and instrumental in its resolution by helping convince Jonathan to surrender. Her presence in the narrative reminds us that domestic violence situations often involve complicated relationship networks beyond just perpetrator and victim. The judicial outcome, life imprisonment rather than the death penalty, reflects both the gravity of Jonathan's crimes and the practical considerations of the legal system. While the sentence ensures he can never harm another person, it also raises questions about justice, punishment, and closure for victims' families. For some, no punishment can ever truly compensate for the loss of Rannita's life. Community response to Rannita's murder demonstrates how tragedy can galvanize action. The vigils and memorials served not only to honor her memory, but also to raise awareness about domestic violence resources. In communities like Shreveport, where economic challenges can make leaving abusive situations even more difficult, such awareness is particularly crucial. Rannita's interior design work represented not just her professional skills, but her vision for beauty and transformation. There's a painful irony in how someone dedicated to creating safe, beautiful spaces for others could not ultimately secure safety in her own home. Her creative legacy lives on through the spaces she designed and the social media posts that once showcased her talent. What lessons can we draw from Rannita Williams' story? First, the importance of taking criminal histories seriously. Jonathan's extensive record of violence should have served as a clear warning about the danger he posed. Second, the need to recognize controlling behaviors early in relationships before they escalate to physical violence. Third, the critical role of community support systems for those attempting to leave dangerous relationships. For those currently in situations similar to Rannita's, resources exist. Domestic violence hotlines provide confidential support and guidance. Shelters offer temporary safe housing. Legal advocates can help navigate restraining orders and custody issues. The challenge lies in connecting those at risk with these resources before tragedy strikes. Perhaps the most important takeaway is the need to believe those who express fear or concern about current or former partners. When Rannita attempted to distance herself from Jonathan, she recognized the toxicity of their relationship. Had there been stronger intervention at that point, the outcome might have been different. On April 21st, 2018, as Rannita Williams was laid to rest, her family, friends, and community confronted the permanent absence of a woman whose life held so much promise. Her children faced a future without their mother's guidance. Her design clients would never again witness her transformation of their spaces. Her mother would carry both physical and emotional scars from that terrible day on Natalie Street. Jonathan Robinson, isolated in prison with the consequences of his actions, represents the endpoint of unchecked violence and control. His life sentence ensures justice in a legal sense, though it can never restore what was lost or heal the wounds his actions created. As for Sharika Taylor, her role in this tragedy serves as a reminder of how triangulated relationships can intensify already dangerous situations. The competition and hostility between the two women, manipulated by Jonathan, created additional pressure in an already volatile dynamic. Before we close, if you found value in this analysis, please support our channel by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Your engagement allows us to continue examining these cases with the depth and respect they deserve. The story of Rannita Williams reminds us that domestic violence can happen to anyone, regardless of their achievements or strengths. It teaches us to recognize warning signs not just in our own relationships, but in those of our friends and family members. It calls on us to create communities where victims feel empowered to seek help before violence escalates to its ultimate conclusion. As we remember Rannita, devoted mother, talented designer, beloved daughter, let us also commit to the work of prevention. By understanding the patterns that preceded her death, perhaps we can help others avoid similar fates. In this way, Rannita's story becomes not just a tragedy to mourn, but a lesson that might save lives. May Rannita Williams rest in peace, and may her memory inspire action toward a world with less violence and more compassion.